Welcome to Designed for the Creative Mind, a podcast for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs to run their business with purpose, efficiency, and passion. Because while every design is different, the process should remain the same. Prepare yourself for some good conversations with amazing guests, a dash of Jesus, and a touch of the woo-woo, and probably a swear word or two. If you're ready to stop trading your time for money and enjoy your interior design business, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Michelle Lynn. Scope creep is the silent killer of profit in our industry. Most designers don't lose money because they undercharge. They lose it because they can't hold boundaries. And listen, I get it. Saying no is uncomfortable. You don't want to sound difficult. You want your clients to love you. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't walls. They are leadership. They are how you protect your profit, your time, your client relationships, your sanity. In this episode, I'm not just going to talk about why boundaries matter. I'm going to give you exact scripts that you can use the next time a client pushes for more than they paid for. So grab a pencil and paper or listen to the end, and I'll let you know how you can just download this information because you're going to want to jot these down. You will walk away with the confidence to hold your line without sounding pushy or difficult. Because boundaries aren't about being rigid, y'all. They're about protecting your profit, your time, and your sanity. So let's talk about how boundaries protect your profit. Every time you say yes to just a little bit extra, you're giving away your most valuable resource, and that's your expertise. That quick floor plan tweak, that just one more rendering, that additional trip to the showroom, babe, those aren't free. They're hours of your time, and hours are money. Multiply that over the course of a year, and you're looking at thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars left on the table. Your clients might not even realize they're asking for more because to them it feels small, but small, it adds up fast. Protecting your time, boundaries protect your time because time is your most limited resource. Every quick little request pulls you away from higher value work, whether that's marketing your firm, closing another client, working on design work for someone who's paying for your attention. So boundaries keep your calendar aligned with your priorities. They also teach your clients how to treat you because you're not just their designer. You are modeling the relationship. If you allow unlimited changes, late night texts, or endless freebies, you're teaching your clients that your time is negotiable. Clear boundaries will tell them, this is how a professional works. And they'll respect you more for it because, after all, professionals hire professionals. And as I talk to dozens of designers every week, and especially those that are relatively newer into the industry, they often think that boundaries make them look rigid or unhelpful. But y'all, it's like raising children. In reality, clear, consistent boundaries make them feel safer because your clients then know what to expect. They know you're reliable. So the boundaries create stability, and stability, it builds trust. So just think about when you're raising children, you got to have these boundaries. Children actually prefer it. So do our clients. Because without these boundaries, resentment builds, okay, on both sides of the coin. Burnout creeps in, and your business turns into a revolving door of scope creep. I've been there. Like, I would dread my inbox. I would start resenting clients and losing the passion that brought me here in the first place. So I'm assuming you can probably relate to some of that. And if not, then rock on. You've got some boundaries set. But stick around because I'm going to share some more with you. Because boundaries are the difference between a business that drains you and one that sustains you. Ooh, that's good. Boundaries are the difference between a business that drains you and one that sustains you. Okay, so if boundaries are so important, why do we struggle to set them? And in my humble opinion, I think it's not because we don't know better, but it's because we're human. And most of us, if we admit it in this industry, are people pleasers. So we don't want to sound difficult, right? You don't want your clients to think that you're rigid or that you're hard to work with. So you say yes when you probably have that little inner voice screaming, no, no, say no. And we want our clients to we want our clients to love us. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. People pleasing is such has such a negative connotation, but again, we're human. Okay, so we want our clients to love us, but sometimes love gets confused with compliance. And we think that being liked equals being successful. And having been the people pleaser myself, having had people pleasers on my team and coaching hundreds of people pleasers, it's true across the board. I think another, no, I know that another reason we struggle to set boundaries is because of our scarcity thinking. We're afraid the client might walk away. If we set boundaries, are they going to leave us? Are they going to stop referring clients to us? And then what? Well, what happens is we tell ourselves, I need this job, so I can't risk losing it. So we just give in and give in and give in. Now, in a previous life, I was the area director for a boutique recruiting firm here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Basically, that's a fancy name for sales manager. And what I learned is that most of us don't know what to say in the moment. So with my team, I would notice that they would freeze, they would fumble. And I say they, well, it's only because I walked in those footsteps first. Because before you know it, we've agreed to something we don't want to agree to. So what we've done is created scripts, or this is what I did for my team when I was in sales. This is what I've done for my team and myself at ML Interiors Group. And that's what we're talking about today. And again, remember, I've got a download for you. I'll tell you how to get it, but you're going to have to stick with me until the end. Yes, I'm going to hold you hostage because y'all, boundaries don't push good clients away. They attract them. I promise. I promise. Good clients respect professionals who hold their line. And the ones who don't respect it, well, babe, you'll never keep those people happy anyway. So you might as well dodge that bullet early. So when you don't have scripts, okay, like ready to go phrases, word tracks that are comfortable and familiar to you, here's what happens. You're going to say yes in the moment. Remember, that little voice inside is going to be screaming, no, 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 don't say yes. And you say yes, and then you're going to regret it later. Okay, or your project scope gets blurry. So suddenly what started as a clear contract is now a moving target. Heck, I remember early in my design career, there were times that I didn't remember what I agreed to, so I just did it. And then there's this one client, Alan. He learned how to push because every time he asked, I would give. So your clients will learn, just like my 7-year-old right now, if they push and you say yes once, and then you say yes twice, they're going to expect you to say yes every single time. And that's when my clients would start to get frustrated. Can you relate to that? So the result is like you've got endless revisions and you've got unpaid hours just or work and your energy's drained. And like there can be profit leaks big enough to sink your business. So the solution is not to say no to everything. Okay. I'm not saying that that's the case. But what you need to do is be prepared with the right words so that you can redirect with confidence.
You're an interior designer, not a marketer, but somehow you're stuck spending hours on SEO, social media, and email campaigns instead of doing what you love, designing beautiful spaces. Marketing shouldn't take over your business. That's why Sidemark was built by designers for designers. We offer done for you marketing services like SEO, paid ads, email, and even social media management so you don't have to lift a finger. Not quite ready to let someone run it all for you? We also have done with you software subscriptions that include all of the tools you need, along with live coaching, courses, and 24/7 live support to help you market smarter with a clear plan. Imagine getting back to doing more of why you started your business in the first place. Solve the marketing overwhelm and visit www.mysidemark.com today. That's www.mysidemark.com.
So here's that pencil and paper. Okay. Or I'll tell you what the link is and I'll put it in the show notes. Okay. And then you can just download these. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to adapt them and make them your own. So what I mean is that you don't need to be a carbon copy of my voice running around with words that don't flow out of your mouth comfortably. So if a client is asking you for something extra, like, hey, while you're here, what should we do with the staircase? Or hey, while you're here, like with the trades for a kitchen renovation or something, and they're like, what should we do with the powder bathroom? Like, you can, here's what you can say. It's like, oh, I'd love to help with that. Here's how we can add it to the scope. Okay, or I'll write you, or let me draw up a new scope of work or an additional scope of work. Okay, what you're doing is you're affirming, I'd love to help with that. Okay, and then you're redirecting them to what you need. That doesn't sound mean, does it? I mean, you're agreeing with them right away. Okay, you could also say, well, oh, that sounds so exciting. Let's book a focused session so I can give it the attention it deserves. Okay, it could be like, what color should I paint the outside of my house? Like, so, I mean, some of these you can use interchangeably. Oh, and here's one. Here's one that we have. Um, you're doing the design presentation. They're asking for just another option. Like, what else is there? What else is there? Okay. Well, our agreement includes a single option that fits the budget, the timeline, and the style. If you want me to create additional concepts, I'd be happy to. I can drop another scope of work, or I can do it for an additional fee, like however you want to phrase that, whatever your boundaries are. I'm happy to create additional concepts for, you know, $1,900, $5,000, like whatever it looks like. So what that's doing is you're pointing them back to your agreement. So you're not the asshole. Okay. This is something they signed. It's legal. And then it's their choice. Oh, here's another one. Okay, here's another one. If they expect after hours access, well, here's how we handle it at ML Interiors Group. Well, a couple things. One is that we put it in the meet and greet, and then we'll also put it on our emails that we respond during business hours. But if you're face to face and you're like, and you don't have the right words, it's like, oh, absolutely. I want to give your project my full attention. That's why I handle client communication during business hours. Okay. And all that does is it reframes your boundaries as good service. It makes you sound like the hero. Like, I don't want to be drinking wine and watching Bluey and listening to my kid in the background while I'm trying to give you my best service. Oh, so I want to give your project my full attention. That's why I handle client communication during business hours. Okay, so honey, you don't have to work weekends, nights, and holidays. Another one is like when they push for discounts. Well, first of all, I don't get a discount. I do buy to vendors that sell only to my trade. Okay, so it's not a discount. I think we've gone over this in previous episodes. And then you can say something along the line of the investment reflects the full value of the work and service I deliver. If you'd like to adjust the scope to fit your budget, we can absolutely do that. So if they're pushing, well, how do you price? How do you price? How do you price? Do I get part of your discount? Blah, 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 blah. There you go. You don't even have to say no flat out because sometimes that teeny tiny little word is difficult. So The investment reflects the full value of the work and service I deliver. And I tell them straight up, I just had a virtual meet and greet today, and I share with them my profit center is being the retailer of your furniture and my design fee. The investment reflects the full value of the work and the service I deliver. Okay. So the magic in these is that none of them start with saying no. I mean, let's go back to my 7-year-old. There are times where I just say no, Genevieve, just no. But more often than not, there's an acknowledgement and then a redirection. So it's basically sure, and here's how. Okay, that's how you lead your clients. Let's go back to our last episode. That's how you influence. So again, I have these available as a download. If you go to the designbakehouse.com/boundaries dash script, you'll be able to access it there. Okay. And again, that link will be in the show notes. The designbakehouse.com, I think it's a /boundaries dash script. So, case study. Let me tell you a little bit about Sarah. She was one of my interior design business bakery students, and she was on an office hours call with me and was just completely burnt out. And she's like, Michelle, I don't even want to open my email anymore. Like every time I do, somebody's asking me for something more. And you could see, like, this is on a Zoom call, you could see the heads nodding, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, I know what you're saying. Well, she thought that she was delighting her clients by saying yes to every little thing. I mean, can you relate to that? One more rendering, a quick extra showroom stop. I don't know. How about another floor plan? Let me just see another layout for my kitchen. Okay, but by the end of the project, she'd realized she'd basically doubled her workload for free. And so we reviewed, okay, so how much did you charge? And she walked me through what she had charged. And she was still relatively new to the bakery. So she wasn't charging enough, but that's completely different. Okay, so technically, she wasn't really undercharging based on what she knew. But even if she had been doing full bakery pricing, she was over giving. Okay, so flip that. You're over giving. Like your fee structure might be solid, but if you're over giving, then you're leaking money. So basically, what I did is I gave her two tools. This is what we have in the interior design business bakery, and that's contract language that defined the scope clearly. Okay. And then word tracks for those sticky client moments. These just like these boundary scripts. Like here's what I would say. Okay, so the first time she used one, because it was only a few weeks later, and I remember her making a comment in the Facebook group, and she said, Michelle, like I was terrified because my client asked for an extra option. Like they wanted to see like multiple sofas. And she said, if you go back and look at our contract, it includes a single option based on, what did we say earlier? Your budget, your style, and your timeline. Okay, I'd be happy to provide you with more options. And again, in the contract, here's the consequence. Here's the fee associated with it. So you just spell these things out and then you can point your clients back to it. Okay? And you know what her client said? Great. Go ahead and send me that add-on. So she sent him the invoice and she got the other selections provided, shared them with them. And you know what? They went back to the very first solution that she provided. And that happens all the time. Okay. But that's not the point. It's not about the selection. It was that there's no drama, there was no pushback. It was just respect on both sides. So, like, Sarah respected herself, she respected her boundaries, the client respected her. So, I ran into her and we talked about it. I think we were in High Point, or it might have been at one of the conferences, but she said, I thought setting boundaries would make clients hate me, but they respect me more. So, I mean, at this point, you feel like a professional and not a pushover. I mean, how does that how do you walk into the room after that? Like you kind of strut. Plus, Y'all, I can guarantee you Sarah doesn't dread her inbox nearly as much. Now, maybe because of the spam, but not because of the clients requesting something. And keep in mind that there's so many times we get frustrated and we think our clients are just like inconsiderate, but they're not. They just haven't been told that they're not allowed to do that. So here's a couple things that I really want you to think about and to remember. First of all, let me just repeat that boundaries protect your profit, your time, and your sanity. Boundaries protect your profit, your time, and your sanity. But coming from a former sales manager, let me just tell you that scripts will give you confidence in the moment. So even if you don't have the confidence, you still have the words. Saying no does not damage trust, it builds it. And then when you do have clear, consistent boundaries, what it does is it turns scope creep into leadership moments. It goes back to that influence advantage. Okay. And you're not being mean, honey. You're just being clear. You're just being clear. So, inside the interior design business bakery, I don't just talk about boundaries by any means. I give you the exact contract templates, client communication scripts that will back them up. Back them up. And that's in addition to like all of the branding and the marketing and the pricing and the services and the processes and the project management. Like there's a lot in the interior design business bakery. So if you're tired of scope creep draining your profit, okay, as it ties back into today's episode, the bakery gives you the tools to eliminate it for good. So you don't have to wing it. You can feel prepared, confident, respected, and more. So if you want to know more about it, please just check out the Design Bakehouse and go to our coaching tab. So that's another episode of running a design business and a rule that no one will say out loud. So I'm Michelle Lynn, and I'll see you next time with more of the truths you actually need to hear. Hey, y'all. If you love the show and find it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with your friends and followers. And if you like what you're hearing, want to put a face with a name, and get even more business advice, then join me in my Facebook group, the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. Yeah, I know, it's Facebook. But just come on in for the training and then leave without scrolling your feed. It's fun, I promise you'll enjoy it. And finally, I hear it's good for business to get ratings on your podcasts. So please drop yours on whatever platform you use to listen to this. We're all about community over competition. So let's work on elevating our industry one designer at a time. See you next time.